Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So, there are not that many people here now as there were last night, obviously because some people are hungover from watching the UFC game, right? Now, on a more serious note, my topic today is about repairing family ties, something of this nature. What is it exactly? Sheikh, read my title for me. What's my title?
Repairing our families, fixing the breakdowns.
Ah, repairing our families, fixing the breakdowns. Okay, so there you are. So, let me get right on to the topic then. They've allotted me 20 minutes, of which I've already used up 45 seconds. Let me get quickly on it and leave time for your questions at the end. So I won't speak for the 20 minutes. I want to make a few points about the kinds of cases that come to me and how that gets me to reflect as an imam on the family breakdowns that we're noticing and how to avoid these, how to repair the families. There are a few essential things that we have to put into place. One is that we have to all be connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as families. There is somebody put on a bumper sticker the excellent slogan that says that the family that prays together stays together. I think that's a very important statement, and it captures a significant truth. If we are praying together, then there is all likelihood that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep us together. It's not an absolute guarantee, but this is one of the points. It's almost like you're looking for, you're applying to migrate to a certain country and they have a point system. So they give you so many points for education. But it doesn't mean that the education is the only thing, right? So if you pray together, these are so many points in favor of your staying together. What will happen is that you're praying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you will sit down for a moment, you'll have a chance to chat with each other, you will know what kind of problems each other is facing, you will know if the other person is not happy with you. Because now they're not responding. Maybe they want, instead of sitting there and chatting for a couple of minutes, they want to get up and leave very quickly. They don't want to talk. So now you know that there is a problem. It is related that Aisha radiallahu anha used to respond to the Prophet, peace be upon him, in a particular way when she's happy and another way when she's not happy. So the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said to her, I know when you're happy and when you're not. Because if you're happy with me, when you want to make an oath, you would say, by the Lord of Muhammad. But when you're not happy with me, you would say, by the Lord of Ibrahim. So, avoiding even to mention the name of our Prophet ﷺ. So that means we have to be in tune to find out, like, when the other person is happy, when the other person is not happy, and then do what we can for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be kind to our spouses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Ar-Rum, in the 21st ayah, says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. From among his signs is that he created for you from your own species spouses, so that you may dwell with them in tranquility. In tranquility. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And he has placed between you love and mercy. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And certainly in that are signs for a people who reflect, who think. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, like, think about this. Allah has, out of His mercy, this from among His signs, is that He made for you spouses from your own kind, so that you will dwell with them in tranquility. So there is a certain security and sense of well-being that we experience when we are with our spouses. This is from the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, among His great signs, that He has actually caused two so very different people to be attracted to each other and to commit their lives to a life of compromise with each other. Because if you are single, you're free, right? But when you get married, you are making a commitment that your happiness will be tied to the happiness of the other person. So that's from one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has made us such that we have this kind of attraction to the person of the other gender. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He has placed the mawadda and rahmah between you. So now, if you watch enough Bollywood movies, you get the idea that, boy meets girl, they fall in love, and then there's a whole saga about, all of the complications that life brings because people fall in love before they get married. In the Islamic conception, you don't have to fall in love before you get married. You think rationally about the person you're going to get married to, because you're going to make a serious commitment here about spending the rest of your life with this person. And this person is going to be the mother or father of your children. So you want to make sure that this is the person that you want to have as your spouse. You make a rational decision, and then by living together and doing acts of kindness for each other, eventually the love will generate in your hearts. And this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will place the love and the mercy, the tenderness between you. So the important thing I wanted to make up, the point I wanted to make about that is that we need to pray together. So it is important then that we extend that, not only praying, but we learn Islam together. So when we come to a conference like this, we come with our spouses, we come with the whole family, so that the whole family is being motivated together. Many years ago, I used to go out in the Jamaat Tabligh, and if I had the opportunity, I would still go out, but Allah's turned me in a different direction. My work consumes me in another way, so I no longer go out. But as much as I would say a lot of great things and good things about the Jamaat Tabligh, one of the things I felt was not quite the way I would like to see it, is that it's heavily focused on the repair of the men. So the men would go out on the 3 days and the 40 days and the 4 months and so on. There still is an opportunity for women to go out, and sometimes women go out as well, but not that much of an opportunity. So what we need to do, I believe, as a community, is that we have to initiate programs that will help the whole family together to continue developing and growing in the Islamic faith. So there's not an imbalance. It's not like the guy goes out for 4 months, he comes back, he's all inspired with Quran and Sunnah, and he wants to do everything right. The first thing he wants to do is break the television, and so on. So it's not going to work. You have to mold the whole family together so you're all on the same page. And we have to be aware of these differences. If one person is being inspired more into the religion, the other person is not there yet, don't just focus on yourself. Try to get the whole family working together and advancing together. Parents and children. Okay, so that's my first point about praying together. The second point is about communication. This is something that Sheikh Hani just so excellently described when he talked about communication between parents and children. So I want to extend that and say that it is important that there is very ample communication between husband and wife. I touched upon that a little bit in the previous point about praying together and then talking to each other afterwards. But I want to expand upon that point now because it's a very important point on its own. There was a Dr. John Gray who many years ago, I don't know, Sheikh Hani, do you know Dr. John Gray? No? As I say, this is like many years ago. Many years ago he became famous. Sheikh Hani is like a son to us, May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him. So young and a scholar, memorizer of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him every success in life and continue to utilize him as one of the stalwarts representatives of our religion in the future. Starting now and continuing into the future. Of course, every generation will be better than the one before it in terms of this scholarship and advancement and so on. And we make every dua for him. So now, Dr. John Gray made headlines maybe a decade ago. I didn't even remember how long now. Do you guys know Dr. John Gray? Show me a hand if you remember this name, Dr. John Gray. You remember men are from Mars, women are from Venus? Yeah? Okay, so lots of nods here. So he became famous for his book entitled Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And he wrote many books after that, and he had many public appearances and lectures and so on. What he proposed is that men and women are so different that in order for them to understand each other, you have to almost think that the men are from a different planet and the women are from a different planet. They just simply coincide here on Earth. So you shouldn't expect them to be the same. Now his work was later criticized, especially by some feminists who want to emphasize that men and women are equal in every respect. But that criticism to me is only valid if we take it as an absolute generalization. If we say all men are like this and all women are like this, then of course we're overgeneralizing. And we should recognize that there is a whole spectrum of masculinity towards femininity. Some people are maybe smack in the middle, and some people are closer to the masculine side, some people are closer to the feminine side. So if we leave aside that generalization and we understand the diversity, his ideas will at least help us within our family situations to understand why people behave the way they do. So one of the issues that he pointed out is that women generally like to talk. So let's say the situation is like this, the man comes home from work and he had all kinds of stress to deal with and so on, so in his own mind, he wants to just come home and relax. And now, according to Dr. John Gray, the man wants to be in his cave. Now his cave does not necessarily mean that he's going to lock himself up into a corner. Maybe he does that too. Maybe he has his den and he's going to go into his den and he just wants to spend his time there. Or maybe his cave is just his armchair. He will sit down, he will relax, he doesn't want to be bothered now. He wants to just get rid of all that stress from the day. Now, the woman wants to talk. So, she must have had a whole day of stressful experiences as well. But she wants to talk about her experiences. So and then she expects that he should want to talk about his experiences as well. And he expects that she should be quiet while he is just trying to recover from this whole day of stressful activity. So it's not going to work if she is saying, honey, tell me about your day. And he is trying to get some peace and quiet. And he thinks this woman is just disturbing me. Why can't she understand that I just need some time out here? So if we understand that men and women are different in this respect, at least if we communicate with each other that this is how we're feeling, then at least we know what the story is. Like if he says to his wife, honey, I know you like to talk about the whole day, and you know what, I'm going to tell you all about it. But if you give me half an hour, I just need to tune out because I had such a stressful day. I just like to be quiet for a little while. Is that okay? Then we know what the story is. So, in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam in the Quran, we have it that these men came to Yusuf alayhi salam, they said, we had this dream, and tell us the interpretation of our dreams. So he said, before the food comes to you that normally comes, I will tell you the interpretation of your dreams. And what he did was, in the meantime, he started to give them da'wah. He started to tell them about Allah, who is Al-Wahid Al-Qahhar. He's telling them about the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal. What he has done there is that he has bought time. He has given them the time frame. I'm going to get to your question and give you the interpretation of the dream, which was what you came seeking. But I'm going to do it within this time frame. So they know that they're not just sitting there waiting, listening to his lecture and wondering when is this sheikh going to finish. They know that there's an ending time. And within that time, they'll get the answer to their question. So he gave them the time frame. So in a similar situation, in a similar way, in the family situation, give a time frame. Say, give me half an hour to just simply tune out for a while, and then we'll talk all about it. All right, so communication, this is very important. Understand how men and women are different. The last thing I want to speak about is, I only have about 5 minutes, and we have some children here with us, but it's important that we understand that there is a side of life that is very important to all persons. And this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, with certain basic needs. We have a need for food, for drink, for clothing. We have certain physical needs, and those needs have to be met. And as adult persons, we have to understand that within a marriage, that's what the marriage is. That's one of the aspects of marriage. So we say to the young man, don't do anything wrong, get married, and then you are free within the marriage to satisfy that side of human desire. So now, if within the marriage that side of human desire is not being satisfied, well then that could lead to all kinds of problems. Nowadays we're having all kinds of problems with men especially being addicted to things that they're looking at on the web. And Sheikh Hani spoke about the smartphone. I've got one too. And we all know that you have to be very, very careful about how you use the modern technology, because you could just be innocently checking up something. I could be checking up like the meaning of a word, and suddenly something pops up and says, Russian girl wants to talk to you. So, so you know that you have to be very disciplined, and you have to ask for the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because people can easily be led astray. So we have to be aware of that and forestall it by being there for the other person. We can't be so busy with life that we have no time. Actually, psychologists and others say that you have to, like outside of Islam, they're talking about this more generally, and they're saying that you have to make time for that one issue. Like you have to think that that's an issue. So you have to almost plan it. You almost have to like plan the evening, like the evening is going to be like this. Maybe, this evening we'll arrange for a babysitter and we will have like a nice dinner together. It doesn't mean that kids are a burden. Kids can be, part of the family as well. But if you've been having them, one after another, you have 3, 4, they're very small, you're both busy, especially if the mom is entirely busy with the children. So the man may come home, it's his children too and his responsibility, but he has his own desires, and he may feel that he's not getting the satisfaction within the marriage that he had hoped to have. And then he might start looking elsewhere. So we want to forestall that. So you need to make time, create the atmosphere, the environment, and the mood to make this happen, and so that the satisfaction is there. Now, I want to do the flip side of that and say very quickly, I'm running out of time, so I want to end very quickly and then get to your questions. The flip side of this is that some of our classical scholars actually described in their books that one of the responsibilities of the man within a marriage is to satisfy his wife in this way. You might be surprised about that, but this was already actually discussed by our classical scholars. So it's one of the responsibilities of the man. And so a man too has to look for the ways in which his wife might respond to him. Some of the classical books even discuss how do you know, like the woman, is she responding or not? We spoke about the Prophet ﷺ and Aisha radiallahu anha, his knowing when she's happy or not. That's in a general situation. But even in the private situation, a man should know what makes my wife happy, what sorts of touches, where, in what way. He should know what stimulates or arouses the other gender, his wife in particular, and so that she also gets satisfaction within that intimate situation. So I'll end right there, because if I keep talking about this, it'll go into more and more detail, and it'll so we don't want to go there. I want to just leave it at that. I think you get the point. So there are 3 points that I made so far. 1 is about praying together. 2 is about communicating with each other, and 3 is about this private and intimate relationship, to keep it burning and to keep it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that the family stays together and the family stays strong. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward all of you for coming out this bright and early this morning, and I look forward to hearing your questions. I'm sure that there's going to be many. Assalamu alaikum.